Well, on this video, we're going to talk about how to download and install the Liftoff Simulator on your computer and using your RC controller to fly your quadcopter on the computer. So what you want to do on your web browser, and this works for PC as well as Mac, is you want to type in steamcommunity.com. Brings you to this page here. You want to join Steam. Many of you probably already have it because it's an online gaming platform, and there's lots of games that are out there that you can download. And once you've joined the Steam community, then you want to install Steam, and it has various options for, again, Windows or PC, or I think maybe even Linux. But anyway, go ahead and install it on your computer. And basically on my Mac, this is what it comes up as. I've actually downloaded the Drone Racing League simulator as well as Liftoff. So coming November 8th through 10th, you should be able to go to the Steam application that you have and go to the store and search for Liftoff and download it for free. So once you download it, you're going to have to set up your RC controller so you're actually controlling the game through your controller, so it becomes very familiar. So once you actually go to fly a real quadcopter, it feels pretty natural. So let's go ahead and launch Liftoff and see what it's all about. Okay, so this is the screen that you get once you start out, and one of the things you want to do is you go under Options and Controls. So now you want to set up a controller. So actually, let me go ahead and plug in my controller. So one of the things I was going to do is actually show you how to set up on your controller, but then I was reminded that the Steam and Liftoff community is a wealth of knowledge. So what you want to do is go to Community and Guides, and then under the Guides you're going to find a whole bunch of tutorials on how to hook up your Spectrum, the FrSky, and Turnigy, all kinds of different controllers. So go through here and find the controller that you're going to use with the game, and the tutorial should help you set up your controller. So now that you got your controller set up, turn mine on. And so it's basically as simple as plugging in your USB to your computer. And then on the Spectrum radio, you're going to have to probably have a special cable that goes to the 1/8" jack on the Spectrum radios. But on the FrSky, you have just a USB connection. So once I plug it in, then I'll do it on this camera here, you are presented with two options: USB joystick, which is what you want, or USB storage. And you use the USB storage if you want to talk to the computer and download the OS systems to talk to your radio. So I'm going to select USB joystick. And then one of the things that just popped up is it said joystick detected. So at this point, you can then go to Controls. So let's go ahead and start the calibration. So I'm going to rotate all sticks around like that. Okay, and center them. Then we assign the throttle. So I'm going to move the throttle up, and it automatically, whatever channel you have it on your radio, it'll figure it out which one it is and assign it to the controller on the game. So now you want to do pitch, so move the pitch up, and then center the control. Now do the roll, so move it to the right, and let it center again. And finally, yaw. So just move the yaw to the right, Let it center. So that's it. So now, as you move your joysticks, so if I do pitch, pitching forward, pitching back, roll to the right, roll to the left, throttle up, throttle down, yaw right, and yaw left. So everything looks good. So go ahead and save. Controller is saved, and exit. Okay, so getting around liftoff. So we've already calibrated a controller. If later on, if you want to download some other tracks, there's tracks that comes with it. So I would try those first and then expand from there. When you want to search for the RCS Fest track that I created, you can go to Community, Workshop, and enter the workshop. And then over on the right hand side is a search engine. So just type in RCS space Fest 2019. And boom, there we go. So RCS Fest 2019 version 2 is the track that I created. And it has both the beginner and an advanced track on it. And then the rookie version 3 is actually when you go to race with a time. That's the track, and advanced version 3 is the track for the advanced racing. So just go ahead and download all three. And how you do that is basically you click on this plus, and you see a little check mark there and saying you're subscribed to this item. So just do that for all three. So to start out, you want to select single player. And if this is your first time in it, I would highly recommend going through the tutorial. So just tutorial, getting started, and the first flight and so forth. So it goes through and tells you how to fly a quadcopter, and then gives you some basic gates to fly around and try to get your skills going. So I started there. Once you've completed all the getting started tutorials, then you can go into free flight. So now they call these levels, and there's all kinds of levels that comes with it. The straw bale is the beginner. It's the easy course, and it has a little description down here, and it says skill level low. So I started off on the straw bale for probably about a month just to get used to the way it responds and so forth. Pine Valley skill level is medium. That's definitely a little bit more challenging, so beginners I would not go to that. -2 is a garage, like a parking garage. Autumn Fields is, like I said, is basically fields and trees and so forth in the autumn. The Hangar CO3 is like a shipyard and so forth, so flying things around. It's at nighttime. The Liftoff Arena is an arena there. They have some tracks that you can fly around. Dubai Legends is based off of the Drone Racing League championship that they had. That's a skill level of high. Hanover, I love Hanover. I was flying in this, and this is a very large course, so you can fly all around this, and there's all kinds of things to explore. It's really, really fun. And probably about a month or two ago, I saw some videos on YouTube from Rotor Riot, the various different people, Stingy, Kevin, and so forth, Mr. Steele. And they were flying around a place that is actually the Hanover. I did not realize that Hanover is a actual place in Germany, and to see how well the game made it accurate compared to the actual buildings that were there is just unreal. Lots of programming going into this game. Paris Drone Festival, the pit is kind of fun. It's just a huge, like, big mining pit. The green is a big golf green and so forth. You can lots of things to fly around there. Hall 26 is a new one if you've been using Liftoff for a while. That's also part of the Hanover area, but it's an indoor flying section. And Bardwell's Yard. Joshua Bardwell is a well-known YouTuber who is very knowledgeable. He goes by the Know-It-All, and this actually is his farm. is land, and it's the latest track to be added. The drawing board is basically just a like a checkerboard, and that's where you can just do shapes and so forth. And a lot of people have just created tracks that are quite intricate in there. Matter of fact, back into the workshop community, when you're downloading tracks, look up Bomba. He must be Asian or something, because his skill level and detail to all the tracks that he creates are just phenomenal. So just do yourself a favor and download Bomba tracks. You'll thank me later. Okay, so to find out the track that I created, it actually is in the drawing board. And then since I went to the community and checkmarked that, you'll see that it comes up here, RCS Fest 2019 version 2. So there's the track. Alright, so once you've selected the RCS Fest 2019 track, you come to where you can pick your own quadcopter. So by default, it will start on blueprints, and you can go through and then pick out all kinds of different ones that they offer. You can even download tracks. Go to the download that's new in this version, and then once you select one, you can modify it, and it'll say you save it as a copy, and then you can modify it and change propellers, motors, battery size, all kinds of different things. Once you've modified one, they show up under My Fleet. So I'm going to go ahead and fly the Emax Hawk 5-inch, and then the spawn point. So when you create a track, there's always a default starting point 00, and if you actually want to create a track in a different part of the area, say you're trying to create a track in the hay bale track area, then you may want to start it over near the barn or something like that. So then your spawn point where you start may not be 00. So you can either choose a default or custom one. In my track, they're both the same. And then you say confirm. Alright, so now I'm started here, and by using the up and down arrow keys, I can change my camera tilt. So when I started out, I started at probably maybe 20 degrees or 30 degrees, and now I'm up to about 45 degrees when I race. You can see there's the track. So this is the drawing board. As you can see, it's just the checkered pattern. And what I did is I have the starting gate is the yellow path, and then for the first part I got a blue and red path, and that's for the beginner and advanced. And then after the second gate, it splits off. The blue follows, goes down to the third gate, down the long stretch to the next to last gate, and then back through. Go to the right of the flag, left of the flag, through the first gate, 180. Go through this, flip around, go through this gate, down the long stretch, do that gate, and do the start and finish. So that's the beginner or rookie track. The advanced track starts off the same, around the two flags, through this continuing, and then split S over this gate, to here, through this gate, back through the middle, there we go, to the right, through this gate, a little split turn, through this gate, a little split turn, through this one, and then finally back through that. So you'll notice that some of the gates in the simulator are rectangular and some of them are oval shaped. So when we set up the track next year for the actual event, we have 5 blue horizon gates and 5 orangish Spectrum gates. So what I'm going to do is the Spectrum gates are for the advanced course in addition to the Horizon gates. If you're doing the beginner rookie track, then you just fly through just the blue gates. So tips on flying FPV quadcopters is a lot of it is throttle management. So you want to be rocking your throttle back and forth, trying to get it so your quadcopter stays relatively even, unless you need to do some dives and so forth. So as you're flying around, try to fly as low as you can to the ground, and as you do your turns, you're going to do quite a bit of yaw as you make your turns to keep yourself. I try to fly within like less than 6 feet high or so. So just practice, a long time, several weeks or so. Just practice going through some gates and all that, trying to keep in your throttle so that you remain fairly low. It's quite often, and I did it too, as you go through a gate, you'll just pop up real quick and then try to line up to the next gate and then go through that and so forth. Because you're nervous and all, so eventually you're going to get it so that you can do some throttle management and keep yourself low just by pumping the throttle sometimes just on certain things. Now another tip that I'll give you is think about downhill snow skiing. So if you're going through some gates, you got a gate approaching, you're going to start your turn before you get to the gate. And then as you are equal to that gate, you are already turning for the next gate. Does that make sense? So liftoff is quite fun to do. I find myself spending lots of time on it. It's so fun to try, and it's fairly realistic. So once I fly the quadcopters that I have loaded in here and actually go out and fly my Mojo 230 Mojo, it's fairly close to what it feels like. So practice during the winter time and impress your friends during the spring when it comes around. Say, look how good I've improved. And hopefully I'll see you at the RCS Fest in Father's Day weekend, Fenton County, Ohio. See you, and thank you for subscribing.